5.6%. Next, I want to talk about some spending highlights. Spending highlights for FY26 include an additional $8.3 million for our Board of Education. That includes $7.6 million above the required maintenance of effort and an additional $644,000 due to state cost shifts that are required for the locals to pick up to cover teacher pensions. As I mentioned, the state budget crisis, the state has elected to pass down several of their expenses to the counties next fiscal year. These include the $644,000 for Board of Education teacher retirements, just mentioned, the $215,000 to cover the State Office of Assessments, and $47,000 of additional pension expenses for Chesapeake College. We're not proposing any new positions next year. This is due to the ongoing, continuing, looming federal uncertainties as well as the state budget shortfalls we're experiencing now. However, we are planning to maintain employee cost of living increases, which is tied to current rates of inflation, and our pay for performance program, all to retain our workforce and recruitment where necessary. Finally, we are budgeting $559,000 towards our capital program from our operating funds. For next year, I wanted to highlight we have two reorganizations within our county departments. To highlight, we have the first one is our Animal Control Division, which is currently at the Department of Emergency Services. We're going to merge that with Animal Services, which is now under the Department of Public Works. This will return both of those offices to one centralized unit, similar to how that agency ran over a decade ago before we privatized Animal Services. This will provide a cost savings and a centralized office to handle both the enforcement and adoption side of the program. Secondly, we are proposing to split the Department of Community Services into the Department of Housing and Family Services and a separate Department of Aging and Transportation. And we're proposing this reorganization to return to function-specific groups so we can focus more directly on the different populations that these departments serve. So these two reorganizations will help the county realize an additional cost savings of $200,000 annually. Next, I wanted to highlight a little bit about, talk a little bit about our Board of Education funding and our partnership with the state. With this slide, we're basically showing how the state has unfortunately not kept pace with their funding plan to fund the blueprint for Maryland's education for not only our public school system, but this is across Maryland. We're not alone in this shortfall. The top line shows what the state projected to appropriate to our Board of Education between FY22 and FY26. The second line down depicts what was actually provided, and you can focus on the red numbers. They're all a deficit. This year, the highlighted block at the end, the state is $2.2 million below their planned funding, and over the past 5 years, they're $9 million behind. The second set of numbers below that first array shows future projections and forecasted revenues, which also remain in the red. And this shortfall obviously places an additional burden on the county to ensure that the blueprint does get funded, as we will see on the next slide, which provides an overview of the county funding for the Board of Education. So similar to the last slide, the top line of figures represents the maintenance of effort requirement for the Board of Education over the last 7 years and the upcoming year, which is highlighted in yellow. Over the past 7 years, the county has exceeded MOE 4 times, totaling $24 million. Also, similar to the last slide, in the second array of figures, we are showing the MOE funding forecast versus what we anticipate appropriating over the next 8 years. All the future allocations exceed the forecasted MOE, and a clear statement that our county commissioners are dedicated to support our public school systems going forward. One last slide talking about the Board of Education and school funding. This is a statewide local appropriation forecast, which shows it's a forecast that was provided by the state showing what the counties should be prepared to allocate for school systems from FY25 to FY30 for the blueprint for education. And as you can see, we're in the red box there all the way near the bottom, and a star there in the center between FY29 and FY30. So we're 4 years ahead of schedule with our funding of $83 million. for the Board of Education. They forecasted for FY26 $75.1 million. So we're well ahead of the forecasted amount of money that we should be providing to our schools from the state's perspective. Okay, so now moving into the operations budget, our proposed revenue sources by pie chart. This basically shows the percentages of all of the revenue streams graphically. So we can see income and property taxes both coming in at 43%, other local taxes at 7%, transfers, service charges, intergovernmental, and miscellaneous categories totaling the balance for another 7%. And the next slide will show some additional numeric details. For taxes here at the top, we show continued growth in property and income, both right around 8%. And we're looking at the center column there. 8% above the current year. We are going to see a reduction in cannabis sale tax next year, 90% reduction, which has to do with the state requiring the majority of those proceeds to go into a special account for community development organizations. Our franchise fees are also declining by 13% due to cable television subscriptions that are declining slightly each year due to new streaming services. Our recordation and transfer taxes are increasing based on very strong home sale forecasts over the next year. Interest income is also up 120% due to continued high interest rates based on federal rate and expectations that these rates will remain steady for the next year. So overall, in the bottom left-hand corner, we show an increase of 8.8% over the FY25 budget. All right. So on the expense side, this is our corresponding expense pie chart. This is where the money goes, and this is a graphic depiction of where expenses fall, with the largest expense being our public education system at 43% of the total, followed by public safety at 24%, public works at 7%, other county administrative functions at 6%, and then other county agencies at 5%, which include, to name a few, the 4-H Park, our Orphans Court, Chesapeake College, our public library systems, our health department, and Board of Elections. Our community services, which includes housing, aging, and the local management board, as well as parks and recreation, they're both coming in at 3% of our total budget. And our debt service accounts and other miscellaneous expenses and transfers are each at 4%. And rounding out with planning and zoning, the Department of Planning and Zoning at 1% of the overall budget next year. Now, the next few slides will show the numeric budget allocations for our departments. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I will highlight some of the larger changes and adjustments over this year's budget. First, in the county administrations block, our legal services are down due to expected decrease in attorney's fees. We have a slight increase in budget and finance due to increase in fees that the state charges us for the homestead tax administration. For information technology, that is going to be up primarily due to increases in software subscription fees and the increasing need for cybersecurity protections for our systems. Our QAC television station includes an enhancement request increase, which would cover the cost for a new Civic Plus agenda and meetings management systems programs. So overall, the county administration block is up by 6.7%. Next, we have community services, which aging is a bit higher due to the conclusion of the ARPA program and the need to provide additional general funds transfers to maintain their service deliveries. Housing and the Public Housing Authority are increasing from the absorption of the Public Housing Authority, which now has become a county agency, and the ramping up of service levels for tenants and constituents needing those housing supports. Overall, community services activities will be increasing by 16.2%. And lastly, we have Department of Planning and Zoning, which is actually decreasing by 1.5%, and that's resulting from the completion of some one-time budgeted expenses last year for some equipment purchases. Okay, this next block, the Public Works Department. There is some increase in Public Works Administration related to the reallocation of some grants, which did provide funding for from staff, but those funds haven't been lost. Those funds are being transferred over to the capital program. Overall, Public Works is increasing by 3%. Parks and Recreation, there is some decreases in recreation, Bay Bridge Airport, and the Blue Heron Golf Course, which are related to closer alignment of their budget needs with historic actuals. However, Parks functions will be increasing by 2.6% overall. So leaving us at the bottom there, general county government functions with a total budgeted increase of 5.7% for next year. Now we have our other agencies leading off. Board of Education, as we've discussed and shown on previous slides, we have a $8.3 million increase for the Board of Education, $7.6 million for operations, and $644,000 due to the state cost shifts for teacher retirements as mentioned. Total overall increase for our Board of Education, 11%. Other agencies include the Sheriff's Office. We have some increases there related to realignment of their budget to historic actuals, to include the school resource officers and court function protections. An overall increase to our outside agency groups, 7.3%. And some miscellaneous accounts. We have our debt service account up by just under 5%, which is due to a new interest payment that'll be due this coming fall for our bond sale that's planned for later this year. In the other categories, we have intergovernmental transfers is up mostly due to the addition of the $214,000 that the state passed down to fully cover the expenses of the state assessment office. And our benefits and OPEB are up to cover the Marathon Healthcare Facility. However, this will serve to reduce the employee premiums in the future years. All right, so overall, the total revenue budget is also up 8.8%, matching our proposed budgeted revenues. So changes from last year, the major revenue increases are, as we stated, property taxes, income taxes, and interest income. And the major increases in expenses are for the Board of Education, Public Safety, the Sheriff's Office, and miscellaneous expenses to cover the state cost shifts that we're required to pick up this year. This slide simply shows the tax rates for all the counties in Maryland and Baltimore City. The blue lines are all the other counties. We are the yellow bar near the low end of the scale. At the low end of the scale, we continue to maintain an 83-cent per $100 of assessed value tax rate. And we also have, as I mentioned, the 5% homeowners homestead tax credit that limits increases of the tax increases paid by principal homeowners. So we're very proud to say that we are still the second lowest in the state of Maryland. All right, so that concludes our operations component of the budget. I'll move into the capital side. So I wanted to highlight some of the projects we have planned and scheduled for next fiscal year. Leading off again, we have $8.5 million for our Board of Education, which includes funding for a partial roof replacement at Mattapique Elementary School, HVAC replacements at Kennard Elementary School, storefront replacements at Bayside Elementary, various IT network hardware replacements, classroom hardware, furniture replacements, and stadium lights. We have $455,000 to support design efforts for the new Queen Anne's Tech Center building at Chesapeake College, a brand new tech center. It's going to be provided at the college that's supported by all 5 Chesapeake County colleges and the college. So this is the design phase for that. For emergency services, we have $4.4 million, of which about $3 million is from grants for the 911 phone center, a voice recording system, a new ambulance, radio subscriber replacements, public safety network upgrades, and replacement of protective gear and cardiac care equipment. And we have $1.25 million allocated towards our $5 million goal to support the new regional hospital from developer exactions, and that hospital is under construction now down in Talbot County, right adjacent to the airport. All right, moving on. We have additional allocations of $200,000 to support the renovation and improvement projects at our 5 housing authority facilities and scattered site homes. $835,000 to support our capital projects at our 9 volunteer fire companies. $500,000 is currently allocated towards the design of the Midshore Regional Detention Center. That $500,000 is coming from a grant. And $3 million for the planning and design phase for a new pedestrian bridge crossing over U.S. Route 50 on Kent Island that will connect the Cross Island Trail and the South Island Trail. For our Parks Department and Recreation Division at Parks, we have $3.4 million to include funding for the continuation of the South Island Trail development, replacement of the Mowbray Park Playground, various capital equipment for field maintenance, athletic field work, and pedestrian bridge maintenance. We have $2 million allocated to commence design and contract development for a new recreation center. For engineering and general services, we have $2.7 million in funding for wetlands mitigation and renovations to other county buildings and facilities. For IT infrastructure, we have $1.3 million allocated for cellular signal boosters at schools and our public facilities, along with other technology security projects. For our roads division, we have funding for systems preservation each year, as always for asphalt overlays, bridge maintenance, and capital equipment. The next three are for our water and wastewater division, which is an enterprise account for our customers, not part of our general fund tax budget, but $8.1 million for the Southern Kent Islands sanitary sewer phases 3 and 4, the final 2 phases. We have $4 million for sanitary water interconnector to complete the backbone of the water system that would connect Graysonville to Kent Island along Main Street through Graysonville, also paid through sanitary user fees and customers, and $250,000 for the initial planning phases of the Marlin Farms and Dominion sewer extension to that area of public health concern. So this slide just gives you a summary of the dollars associated with our 6-year capital plan. In the booklets that we provided here, our finance did a wonderful job providing the additional information with the graphics in the booklets that are available. In the back, there are a listing of all of our capital projects for FY26 and our 5 planning years. But just looking at our FY26 numbers in the first column here, we plan to dedicate $16.5 million for county general capital projects, $22 million for enterprise and special revenue fund capital projects, $8.5 million for our Board of Education projects, for a total of $47.2 million this upcoming year. The additional columns just show the amounts that we have scheduled for the 6-year CIP, and you can see the total there, $465 million in projects overall, and they're all listed in the brochures there in your handouts if you want to get into the details of what we have planned. I have 2 final pie charts to display here. This one shows the funding types we anticipate utilizing for next fiscal year to fund our capital program. You can see it's 40% capital fund balance, 25% bonds, 9% grants, 17% loans, primarily MDE loans for our water and sewer projects, which are paid back by user fees and special benefit assessments to the customers. 8% other sources for developer exactions as an example, and 1% of PAYGO. And this last slide, final pie chart, graphically depicts the capital project funds as a percentage of the total capital plan for next year. And you can see we have general capital at 36%, Board of Education at 18%, public landings at 0.2%, roads at roughly 20%, and then our sanitary district 17.7% for wastewater and 8.5% for the water division. All right, and lastly, I have the links here in the center of the slide, 2 links here, or you can just go to QAC.org and you can navigate your way to our finance page, but you can locate all of our budget documents on these pages, and our new online budget page has additional various reports and data. And if you have any other questions, you're always feel free to reach out to our finance office. We'll be glad to help out with any questions anybody has with our budget documents. So that concludes the presentation. This is our 3rd of 3 presentations. We've been on Kent Island on Monday. We were in Centerville yesterday evening, and we're here at Sudlersville to round things out. We do plan to present a final budget package to the county commissioners on June the 10th for their consideration and adoption. And that'll be in Centerville at the Liberty Building at the commissioner's office. So we will now be ready to take any public input and public comments from folks here in the audience. Thank you.
Call your name, if you could come up to the microphone. Catherine Brooks. Let's just state your name, where you live, and tell us what you want to say.
Catherine Brooks, and we live off Deep Landing Road near Crumpton. I have some concerns about the expenditure page, and there's no number, but the other agencies. And I'm looking particularly at the Health Department and Social Services. With the reduction in funds that are proposed on the federal level, and those are going to trickle down to the state level, I'm concerned about the very small increases in those two line items, the Health Department and Social Services. Health Department has a 2.5% increase only, and Social Services has a 6.1% only, and both of those, especially Social Services, is particularly low in general. So to increase it by $12,000 doesn't seem like that's going to take care of the increased demand for these type of services.
Thank you. Edward Ramsey.
I have concerns about education and infrastructure. I think infrastructure, to go start with that one first, is going to become more and more important for attracting businesses, supporting businesses here, supporting people here, supporting a workforce that's going to be appropriate for the coming industries that we really don't know what they're going to be. With the upcoming AI and robotics, and how much that's going to affect us, I don't know. Are there any studies going on about what kind of infrastructures we're going to possibly need in the future? And the same from education. One of the things, I've been a teacher for 35 years, an art teacher. And one of the things that's very clear to me, and I was in the private sector, or the private school sector. What's very concerning to me is that we have an education system, even in the private schools, that focuses on a kind of a minority of students that really prosper under it. And I'm looking, are we thinking about that, broadening our educational system so it includes more kids? And more, what's the word I'm looking for? Diversity, opportunities. I know when I was a kid here, I went to Sudlersville Senior High, Junior High, or Junior High. I went to Junior High here. And we had a drafting class and carpentry, and I know that got, with the emphasis on college education, that kind of got waylaid in most school systems across the country. I'm not really sure what's happened here, because I'm back here. I've been away for about 35 years, so I'm just sort of getting reintroduced to Queen Anne's County. Another one is, well, that's my education infrastructure. We're doing studies about that, and I live on the Chester River, so I'm very privileged to have where we live on near Crumpton, beautiful view of the river. It's really sweet. And it's a very underutilized, much to my happiness, it's kind of underutilized as far as being taken advantage of for recreational purposes by most of the Queen Anne's County citizens. And I'm wondering if they're thinking about it. I know that the landings have been put in and they've been kept up nicely. I know the deep landing one is in nice shape and good shape. But I'm wondering about not a hiking path, but a path that, like a kayak canoe path down the river, something that could be supported. How would that be supported by Queen Anne's County? How could I envision kind of a pickup drop-off zones where a county vehicle would pick up people in canoes where they leave their cars down the river, take them upriver so they can kayak canoe down, and vice versa. And then safety on the rivers. I worry about if it gets too much, the use of ski-doos. Kind of reminds me of how in the West, many people in the West hate snowmobiles because they're incredibly loud. They're hard on the environment in the delicate zones, and we definitely have delicate zones here. I'm on a roll. And I was listening to a farmer the other day that was talking about how the state is wanting to bring in solar panels to a large extent and dedicating farmland to the solar panels. And it seems to me, I can understand his concerns about how the state has kind of pushed this on us Eastern Shore County farms. But at the same time, I live on a river, and one of my neighbors moved there years ago, and he had a teenage daughter, that first question she asked when they moved there, they came from Pennsylvania, moved here, she had where did the Native Americans go? We find artifacts all over the place, and we still do, even after the deplowing has ended. We still find Indian artifacts. They were here for thousands and thousands of years, and then they were just suddenly gone. And she went to Annapolis and she researched. She found the document that the colonial governor wrote, or the government at the time wrote, that said, gather up all the Native Americans and put them on ships, send them to the Caribbean as slaves, or shoot them. And so I don't know if that was verbatim, but it's sort of like, This is the land we inherited from them, and I live in a place where I know they lived, ground corn, raised their children, had a river that John Smith said was pure water, white sandy bottom, and 300 years of our agriculture. Now it's 8 feet of muck right in front of our house. That white sand is still there. So it's sort of like I want to support the farmers, but I want the farmers to keep getting more and more aware of their impact, because they weren't aware for 300 years, and 6 feet of topsoil went down to 6 inches, and I want to see us think about how we start to reverse this.
I think a lot of those, I think quite a few of the things that you raised, Commissioner Wilson's probably going to address some of those for you when we do the commissioner roundtable here at the end. We got to move on to the next person list, but we'll hear and we can talk with you afterwards, but I think a lot of your questions are going to get answered.
Well, thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Dr. Salins.
Good evening again. Not only have you done so much to assist our district that I've talked about on Monday and Tuesday, our students and our staff, both via programs and meeting their health needs, but I would be remiss to not include all the capital funding that you've provided to our district. And one of our largest projects is, of course, our central office, which is absolutely beautiful, and we're so looking forward to moving in over the next, actually just a few short weeks away, and looking forward to that summer transition to gear up for the next school year. A new track at both of our high schools is absolutely beautiful, utilized nearly every single day by students in our community. Paving at Queen Anne's County High School, stadium lights at Queen Anne's County High School, and soon to be at Kent Island High School as well. And they are just really awesome, I have to say. If you haven't been out there to see them in action, they're amazing. A new roof at both of our high schools, which is enormous, plus several of our elementary schools, and more to come in the future. Stormwater, a lot of stormwater work at Kent Island High School. We've been able to replace furniture that was well past its date of use. I mean, original furniture to Queen Anne's County High School. That's been amazing. Constant updating of our technologies, and just so much more. So again, I say thank you to each one of you individually. I am forever grateful to have had the opportunity to work with each of you for the betterment of our students and our community here in Queen Anne's County.
Thank you. Kathleen Lyons.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen Lyons. I live in Queenstown, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees for the Queen Anne's County Library. So I'm here to speak on behalf of the library and my fellow trustees. First of all, I'd like to acknowledge your understanding of the needs of the library and how it supports the community as an essential resource. and we appreciate what you've done, particularly in 4 areas. One is your understanding of the need to recruit and maintain great staff. When we do surveys of the public about what they want from the library, they almost always, the number one thing is how wonderful our staff are and how responsive they are, and we want to keep them. And so we appreciate your help with the cost of living increases and also the dedicated substitute fund. That helps us tremendously. I'd also like to thank you for your help with us being able to get the Past Perfect software, which allows us to work with local history organizations and to also increase our own archival capabilities. It's an essential function for a number of our community members. Third, I'd like to thank you for your support for obtaining the software program that helps us with sort of behind-the-scenes things where the public is the key beneficiary. Those things include managing programs, streamlining our ability to book meetings. We are a forum, a place where a lot of organizations have their meetings. Booking them can become tedious. You're doing it all by hand. The software helps ensure that we're doing a good job with that and serving the public. And we also use it to help communicate effectively with members of the public. So we appreciate your support of that. Obviously, it's behind the scenes, but as I said, the community is the direct beneficiary. Number 4, and in conclusion, I'd like to thank you for your letter of support for the development of a branch in this part of the county, the northern part. We want to make sure that all Queen Anne's County residents have the benefit of library services, and we want to expand the resources that we're able to provide. So, conclusion, just wanted to say thank you for what you've done to support the library.
Thank you. So that is everybody who has signed up. Is there anybody else who wanted to speak who did not sign up? Right?
I apologize for not signing up. I was talking. Raymond Aaron, current chairman of the Queen Anne's County Fire and EMS. As I've talked to you the last 2 nights, thanking you and the finance department and county administrator for your help and understanding. Just doing it one more time, letting you know that, and the public, anybody who wants to know anything about the fire departments that serve them, please go to QACFEC.org. And each of the 9 departments are listed, a phone number, an email address, their website. Go out and reach out to them, see what is providing service to your area. I think they would be very surprised if they don't already know. There's always a change in fire service. I've been into it 49 years plus, and it still is changing. So those costs of changes is what you folks and with the taxpayers help us keep up with, so they are receiving what I believe. And I've been around to a lot of places. It's still one of the best there is. I want to take a moment to thank each one of the men and women that are members of those fire and EMS services, because it is a tough job to be in the fire service and EMS service today. I wanted to support the Department of Emergency Services budget as well, and I think we still are trying to work with the board as keeping the VOTEC program alive and going, so that students coming up can get college credits by doing the course and completing it, and if that's a field that they want to go into as a career, it's an excellent. I did it, very proud of it. So just wanted to say thank you one more time. Thank for the headaches and understanding, and appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? One more.
I'll be quick. Shannon Bennett, President, Board of Ed. Just wanted to say thank you. We've worked with you guys. I've worked with you for the last 3.5 years, almost 4. And I think we have a great relationship, and I just want to keep it going. We are very happy to be able to announce, I know that it's already been announced, no RIFs, no layoffs, no furloughs. We're keeping everybody that we can keep. We're going to have a great school year next year. Everybody's employed that wants to be employed, and we're just very thankful for all the support that you give us. So, thanks.
Thank you guys for all your work for the Board of Ed. Anybody else? All right, then I'm going to hand this to Jack. Oh, we got some?
Yes, we had 4 emails that came in just today, and they're really short. And they basically are thanking you guys so much for your hard work on the pedestrian walkway and bikeway. It's from Janet Lane, didn't say where she's from, Kim Adams from Bay City, Barb Dawson from Stevensville, and Peter Ale from Kent Island, I believe. But again, it was just thanking you guys for all of your work on the pedestrian bike path and also going in for the recreation center. So that was it.
Thank you. All right, now we were going to go to Jack because I think he's got some information for Ed.
All right, I listed them out. So first off, I want to thank everybody for coming out all 3 nights. A lot of familiar faces from the last 3 nights out here and 2 new faces, so that's awesome. First to Ray, listen, I encourage everybody to, as Ray said, go look at your local volunteer firehouse that serves you. Take a tour. They're more than happy to open the doors, take you through. Ask them what they need. If you can help out, believe me, they're not going to say no. And just remember, everything you give back to that fire department comes back to you when you need it. So definitely take the time, go tour it, buy the chicken when they have it on sale, go to their bull roasts, support your fire departments because they will support you when you need them most. So I'm going to start with my list. So the social services and health department, both of those are basically state departments within the county that we support very minimal services within those departments. There was a move this year, and it may continue to move the health departments back to the county for full funding. That's not as good as it may sound because basically this is something, and you heard the county administrator speak about some of the state, they had a huge budget shortfall and they started to push down expenses from the state to the counties. That trend continues with the rising education costs. It's really going to put a burden here on the county budgets. But as of today, the Department of Social Service and the Health Department are primarily state functions. We have support staff in there and services in there. That's why you're not seeing that real large dollar jump in terms of the funding for those departments. So infrastructure. The infrastructure that you speak of is for AI specifically, I'm just going to address that one, is energy related. I don't know if you watched the news over the last 90 days of session. There were 3 major energy bills that were put in place that addressed one that you touched on with solar, and basically taking away the county's ability to zone what happens with solar. So you're going to see thousands of acres of land gobbled up with solar and take productive farmland away, which is something we fought against. Because first off, the county needs to have control over the look, smell, and feel of the county. We in Queen Anne's County, I'm not sure if you know since you just got back here, we actually led the state of Maryland in deployment of broadband in terms of infrastructure. We were the first county in the state to have an all-fiber network throughout the county. So the big one's going to be energy for the AI. And right now, Maryland imports 40% of its energy from out of state. We do it under the guise that we are going to be a clean energy state, and yet we're importing 40% of coal and gas-fired energy into the state of Maryland. And right now, no, we do not have the means or method to fill that gap in the future for the AI. It's something to keep an eye on. It's going to be constantly changing. House Bill 1037 and Senate Bill 932, if you want to look those up, they did somewhat address them at the state level because they are forming a task force to look at future energy needs to try to close the gap on that. Unfortunately, when it comes to energy side, the county has very little input. The state, the Public Service Commission sets most of the guidelines for all of that stuff. So education, specifically, I think you were looking more like trades programs. So in the last 10 years that I've been commissioner, we've made tremendous strides in getting programs back into our schools. We have a phenomenal relationship with our local Chesapeake College, Community College, and our school system at the high school level with trade programs that go in between careers in general, actually, for anywhere from carpentry, welding, masonry. We have an auto mechanics. We have a advanced marine program at the college now that students are available. And just tonight I found out that officially, they will have an electrical program within the county high schools in this upcoming year. So there has been a lot of strides made. There's a lot of concentration. The blueprint education plan had a carve out for just that, for career and technology education to be advanced within the education system as a whole in the state of Maryland. The Crumpton Walking Trail, not sure if you've been on it, but it was developed, 2 years ago now? 2 years ago now. If you go up by the old cemetery in Crumpton, behind the Parks building there, we cut out about, how big is it, 30 acres, I guess, 40 acres, whatever that is? Yeah, so there's a trail cut down across the river, and it goes all the way around the park. It's real natural. It's not a lot, you're not going to find a lot of benches, so you bring your own little chairs or whatever you want to sit there to walk around, but it is along the river. I'm going to let Jim speak to both the river safety and what kind of things can be done on that, because Jim does everything with Parks and Rec, so I think is that all? Most of them? Yes, all right.
After that, nothing. Just again, thank everybody for understanding some of the challenges that the commissioners face. Just a quick story. My first term back in 2011, the outgoing set of commissioners, none of them were seeking reappointment. So you had 5 deer in the headlight look commissioners, and they were staring down the pipe of a $20 million budget shortfall. But one of the outgoing commissioners said to me that if you can get 70% of it right, you can apologize for the other 30. I'd like to think that we're doing better than that, and it's because we have great staff. They do a wonderful job in making the commissioners look good. Sometimes we make decisions that are very, very difficult to make, and we know that there's going to be some pains in those decisions for our citizens. I can promise you it hurts us to make those decisions, but we try to make the decisions.
I really appreciate the government workers.
Thank you. Thank you. So anyway, appreciate everybody coming here. And you took most of my time, so I'll.
No, you got all the time.
Anyway.
Turn the clock off down here.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Jim?
All righty. Let's see. We've talked about plenty of things, safety, infrastructure. Infrastructure, I would tell you the number one project is the Bay Bridge. Without the repairing and replacing that bridge for more capacity, it's going to be nothing but headaches for the entire Eastern Shore. So it's on track. Phase 2 of the NEPA will be completed at the end of this year, and then hopefully we go right into engineering and design work and funding. So we'll see. I mean, that's the push. I think I'm going to talk tonight a little bit about our municipalities and our towns and how we interact with them, and no better place than right here in Sudlersville, where they constructed a brand new sewage treatment facility and was having a lot of problems. A lot of problems with bills, a lot of problems with the efficiency of it. The county stepped in and helped, and I think we're going to be probably doing more than helping in the future with the water and sewer here. Same thing in Church Hill and also in Centerville. Letters of support for them to help get their infrastructure. So we're always there for the municipalities and the towns in the county, because they're going to have unique problems specifically to them. And our tax offset, for instance, that we've got on the books now, it has an automatic escalator in there, and we get no complaints. And it's like this. I mean, I will tell you, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, the room was full, and everybody wanted a piece of a commissioner for whatever that project might be. And that goes for all 3 stops. So to us, at least to me, it's an accomplishment when you're the only 2 in the room. The rest of these are all staff and friends and groupies that come out to hang out with us at every stop. So, I want to thank the public at home. I want to say, thank you for trusting us to do the right thing with your tax dollars. And again, we go back and say it again, that I still believe we have the lowest property tax rate in the state of Maryland. And that's because Talbot County just cheats on theirs and says, our education tax is over here, so we're not going to count that. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to Patrick. I'm sorry, what?
Some are. Some are. Sudlersville, Churchill is, Centerville.
Yeah. Go ahead. No, you're.
Yeah, the ones that have a wastewater treatment plant do are. Unless Barclay just tied into Sudlersville. So there is room for growth there a little bit. Anyhow, I just want to thank our volunteer first responders, our fire departments, our county employees, our schools, and our businesses, the heartbeat of our county. Patty, thank you for sharing the stormwater management and the updating of the technology and the new school or excuse me, the new building. New school will be in a few years. And two big things happened yesterday. And I'm surprised that Coach Phil missed it. Ken Island men's lacrosse, state champions. Woohoo! And more importantly, I celebrated my 25th anniversary with the most beautiful woman inside and out, and God made her specifically for me, and her name is Carrie, and I love her more today than I did when I married her.
She's watching. I guarantee you.
She's working. She's working.
Yesterday, making up for it. I got it.
Commissioner, congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, I think somebody forgot flowers yesterday. Now they're making up for it. I got you. Well, I want to say this is our last budget hearing, not just for this year, but this is our last one with you, Patty. Many years working together for the Board of Education and have come a long way from where the school system was 4 years ago. So I said it the other day, but I'll say it again, Patty, thank you for all that you've done for Queen Anne's County and for the students of this county.
And when you were awarded Superintendent of the Year, we knew we were in good shape. And Commissioner Corcorino and myself were able to surprise you and attend that crowning. So best of luck to you moving forward, and thank you for all the great things you did for our school system. I will extend a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye. All right.